Hey, how's it going? I'm Jeff, and today I'm joined with a very special guest. I'm going to be doing a Caribbean. Brian, can you just finish that word for me?
What?
I don't know. I tried to say Caribbean like 3 times, and it just didn't happen.
Caribbean, 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 Caribbeano.
Which one is it? Is it Caribbean or Caribbean?
It depends on how you want to say words, right or wrong.
Oh, well, what's the right way?
I don't know.
Thanks for all your help, Brian.
Love you too.
I know. So, what are you up to today, sir?
I am going through lots of things that I have in my plethora of things that I have and listing the things that I no longer want to have on a website in which I can get rid of the things I no longer want to have and but ideally get some money in return for it.
Yeah, that's usually how the exchange of goods and services work.
Typically, yes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, if you don't get scammed out of it, yeah, then you're good.
Yeah, have you ever been scammed doing any of that nonsense before? I've
Yeah.
heard horror stories. Oh, really? Do tell.
So I was young, which
You
is
still
always
are.
a great start to the story. And hello, Lindsay. I know I was just talking to you in Facebook, and I'm glad you're here. Hello. I bought the UCS B Wing at the Lego store when it was on clearance, when UCSs used to go on sale. And I bought it for $100, so it was half off at the Lego store.
Mhm.
And I listed it on eBay after it was retired, shipped it to the guy, and like a dummy, did not include the tracking number. So, and I could not track it and whatever else. And so the guy said, "Hey, I never got it," and brought up the case with eBay, and eBay was like, "Yep, we always side with the buyer, so give him the money back." And I never saw the money, and I never saw the ship back or anything like that. So he probably has it because how often does stuff get lost in the mail? And
Never.
that was a lesson learned. And I actually had that happen kind of recently with selling off an old Nintendo 3DS. A guy was like, "Hey, I never got it," and I didn't include the tracking, but I had it. And so I put in the tracking number, and he's like, "Oh, actually, my friend, now I have it. Thank you." I'm like, yeah. Now you do. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Imagine how that works, huh?
Right. Exactly. So
hello, Lindsay.
So yeah, it's only happened a couple of times, but I obviously have everything, and I can track it better. You can actually go back to the post office if you know the day or the time that you did the transaction. You can track it, or they can pull up the information again. So
Oh, that's handy.
yeah.
So this is not your first rodeo with doing such a thing. You've just stated that. What's the biggest thing that you've ever sold?
Well, earlier this year, I had a drive to get a better camera, and it turns out I bought the wrong camera that was way over my means. And with that, I bought the camera body as well as a lens. So the lens I sold for about $471, which I paid $450. So after the eBay transaction fees, I broke even, which is perfect for me. So that's probably one of the biggest things. I also sold the other camera. I sold the camera on eBay as well, and I lost a little bit of money on that, but not that much.
Yeah,
So.
Hindsight, right? That's always the best part, right?
Yes, and I mean, I've broken even at bare minimum on most of the things I've sold. So now I'm currently listing some like old Amiibo and things that are just sitting around, and I'm like, now I need to really, really, for real this time. Not liquidating, but just getting rid of the stuff that I don't need to have stuff of. So
you're getting rid of the sea cow then?
I mean, so I've been thinking a lot about Lego stuff too, and I haven't like talked to you about it or even publicly about it, but like,
oh, you're still not talking publicly about it. Nobody watches this.
True. But like with a lot of the Lego stuff I have, the fate of it ends up being in a bin that goes into storage to be uncovered at an undetermined date. And that undetermined date is, still undetermined, even from stuff I bought years ago. And I'm not going to make a mock with it. And I already have enough stuff built that I don't need to rebuild anything. So it basically ends up being a constant like flux of new stuff. And like, all right, well, if I'm not going to, really take advantage of what this is and leave it on display or get that much enjoyment out of it, then it's just stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's a larger discussion about a lot of people in the community who just buy things for the sake of buying things for whatever reason, but don't do anything with it. And considering I'm not doing a custom creation with it, or valuing it the way that I could if I still loved Lego in the same way, then there's not really a point, I guess. So that's what I'm realizing now as I'm getting a bit older, I guess.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about those people, or just the community in general, where they'll go out and they'll buy, the top of the line stuff because it's the top of the line and it's brand new and shiny, and they're so excited to get it, and it's like, oh boy, I can't wait to put this 8-foot Star Destroyer together, or this this Ghostbuster headquarters, and then it sits there, literally does nothing. But they had to buy it, right? And then they had to buy multiples of it, because Brian, just so you know, my show's not family friendly, so they can have a big dick about it. And what's your hot take on that? Is that just a waste of time, or is it just a measurement of, or at least a sad measurement of who they are as people?
I think it depends on the person.
Okay.
If you enjoy, like, if you bleep and love Ghostbusters
I do bleep and love Ghostbusters
a lot, and that is your thing.
That's my thing.
And you don't have many things, like if you have a lot of interest in a lot, like if you got to narrow it down, top 3, right?
Ghostbusters, Blade Runner, and maybe the Alien franchise. But that's just me. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm listening.
But then even if you narrow it down to the one and you're like, it's Ghostbusters and it's only Ghostbusters, well, then you buying the Ghostbusters headquarters, even after it's retired, for $500, it means that much more to you because it's going to be a centerpiece. It's something you love putting together and is an embodiment of not only something you enjoyed the process of building, but something you enjoy looking at, appreciating, and referring to in your house, in your studio, in your whatever. It becomes an issue when that mentality becomes everything. And you're constantly buying the new thing because it's new. And it goes back to my mentality on being at the Lego store, getting half off to 75% off of Lego sets. When you first start that job, you're like, oh, let me go gung-ho and buy everything, because obviously you're not used to having a discount of that caliber and just having free reign on all the new hotness, and your threshold becomes so low because you have so many opportunities to buy stuff. But then, as that allure wears off, your threshold should, in theory, get higher. And especially if you're not getting this stuff at a discount, if you're just getting stuff because you want to collect more things to fill a gap in your life, or to make yourself feel more fulfilled. I don't know, but
have you ever been in that position yourself personally, where like, I gotta buy? Oh, you are? Okay.
Yes. So a part of life collapsing is part of me realizing it's part of me realizing all right, why do I buy this stuff? Why? And this is even separate from getting stuff from Lego early, which I am starting. And actually, no, I never really cared about in the first place, honestly, because that's a whole other topic. But the more and more I buy this stuff, I'm like, all right, it's going to sit here and then it's going to be done. But it's not doing anything. And the idea behind consumerism and getting the new thing, there's always going to be a new thing. There's always going to be something, a new trend, a new whatever, and it never ends. And at a certain point, you're overwhelmed with stuff that you don't have a real solid emotional attachment to. It's just stuff. If you're surrounded by only stuff you love, then that's awesome. But if you're buying that much stuff, it's probably not all stuff you love. So why buy it?
Exactly. there was you know that I used to do the toy hunting thing, right? Like I used to go out every Saturday or whatever, and you know, and all that stuff, right? You remember me talking to you
Yes.
about that, okay? And you remember I would just be so pissed off about it when I would get home because you know you'd have to spend $40 to get a figure that's $20, but because some asshole got it online before you, you know, he's scalping it or whatever, and da da da, right? And it's like no longer part of I need this for my collection. This is just, haha, I have this, you don't. And like that's a big deal even with Lego these days, you know? Like people are just I'm gonna press this button and fill this cart because I know that if I buy 3 of these, you know, Batmobiles, that's 2 Batmobiles people won't have, and then I can charge whatever I want for, you know, whatever, yada schmata.
Well, that's okay to do if you're okay with that being your business model, but
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people, like I wouldn't want to live with myself just knowing I'm flipping. Like
Right.
that's not how I want to make my money. But if that's all I knew and that's what I knew worked, then you know, if people are, it goes back to, you know, people are willing to buy it, they're willing to buy it for whatever price, you know.
Exactly. And there's also, you know, I have to buy this because it's new mentality that you brought up just a few moments ago or a few seconds. And you know, we've both been in that position before with Lego, of course, because we're nerds and that's what we do regardless. How did you rationalize it when you were doing it?
Well, first of all, Lindsay, I don't know who Marie Kondo is, but if you could expound. And yeah, Kevin, haul videos are a big thing, yeah, and that's a whole other topic too. So when I first started at the store, it was okay, everything's half off. I need all the things immediately, please. Like fill me up. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's, you know, Lego sets half off. Oh my goodness, this is the most incredible thing I've ever heard of in my life. And you could get all the figures you wanted to.
Oh, I
Cheap.
would go nuts too, man. So yeah,
Everyone would go nuts. It's a rite of passage to go nuts when you're, you know, I'm 18 years old, fresh out of high school. This is my first like it's a job working with product that I know, especially when, you know, I was working at the brick show at that time. That was experience, that was access to, like, it all played into it very well.
mm-hmm.
And then not only that, but when I knew one day I'd be all said and done, because I knew I never, ever, ever wanted to make Lego retail my career ever, that me buying all this stuff half off or less, then I can sell it and I can make a profit no matter what, because it's worth something. And even if I bought it at full price, it would probably be worth something. So
Mm-hmm.
let me just buy these things that I know that I like, but also things that are not, you know, garbage sets or garbage or whatever, just because it's what I'm into and what I know is going to be valuable one day.
All right, let's talk about Bricklink for a moment with you. Not because of whatever, but because of this conversation. So you and I have had the 3 a.m. talk about Bricklink and like, oh man, do we really need X set or whatever?
Yeah.
And like, you don't mind paying the extra when it comes to that, but like, hey, do you have any Bricklink regrets? Like, I shouldn't have bought this, or you know what a regret is. You're 25 years old, so like, do you have any of those like recently, or like even in the last few years, where you're just like, damn it? Not that I'm trying to like pick on you or anything like that, so please don't think that.
I recently bought a ton of 1x1 plates, and I wanted to do a mock of like an Empoleon pixel art thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that might still be something I do eventually. Like that will be my one thing I have on display that is a custom thing that is there. But that was an expensive order and it was a lot of pieces. So that would probably be one that I wish I at least halved the scale of, or the amount.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily a regret. And when I think about, you know, all the things I do have and how I can break even in my mind, at least, or in actuality, then it's not that big of a deal. It's just, you know, I spent it, it's done. And if I really wanted to sell it, then somebody would pay me, maybe not as much, but, you know, lesson learned, you know, make, you know, all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's your favorite thing that you've ever been like, you know what, the hell with it, I'm just gonna buy it? What's your favorite thing that you've gotten, past or present, Lego wise, that you were just like, yeah, this is, you know, and you still look at it today and you go, yeah, you know?
Well,
I'm pulling out the hard questions.
no, I know. I paid regular retail price for the Sea Cow. It was available when I had my discount, but I never got it. So I paid $250 for it on eBay. So that was probably the one that I had full confidence thinking, all right, I definitely want this and I'm willing to pay, a premium, quote unquote, for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that would probably be it. Otherwise, I a lot of it is like custom items too. So like I have like that Paper Mario thing from Nick. That's really cool,
That is really cool.
and it's a custom build, and not that I would sell that,
No.
unless I'm like done and I'm like, oh man. But like I don't think it would ever come to that because that's something he made for me. And a couple things like that, but yeah.
Like I know that you have the Banjo-Kazooie that I can't remember the builder's name, but that thing is pretty awesome, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All of the custom things I have are very, very nice, and I value them, more than a typical Lego set because it's custom,
All right, so this leads me into my next rousing questions of journalism that I have for you. So when we see sets, sometimes we freak out about prices, right? They're getting them pretty up there, especially if you do the UCS thing, right? Like that's easily agreed upon.
Yeah.
Like holy crap, we're paying $500 for the Mos Eisley Cantina. Okay, I guess we're doing this. But like when it comes to like custom stuff, like say somebody is like, "Hey Brian, I bought your minifigure that you had for a little while on your store, and I'm building your office out of it." And would you want to pay them for it, or would you be okay with paying them for like a mock of your office or anything along those lines?
I mean, if they did it just because they wanted to do it, then that's up to them. But I don't think somebody should build something with the explicit implication of, hey, you should buy this from me because I thought of you. Like that's, it wasn't something I said, hey, I want this, or they didn't tell me about it before they did it. They just did it. And then I would feel like a jerk because I didn't buy it,
Understandable completely. So next question. How do you feel when somebody does make a custom for you? Or like, are you nervous about the price at all? Or are you like, this is what I want, I'm okay with paying it? Or do you try to work a deal of some sort with it? I'm not like trying to get an explicit like what you did with Nick or anything like that, but like when you ask somebody for a custom mock or something like that. Say you ask Kevin, make me a 2-foot, Lego Mario, right? And the price comes up. Do you negotiate that price, or do you just go, this is how they make their money, or this is somebody doing something for me, I have no problem with this?
It depends who it is. So when I got the custom Piplup made from Mike, I said, this is what I want. And he said, well, this is how big it's going to be, and this is a price. Do you want me to do it? And I said, sure. So there was a price already decided beforehand. With Nick, there was no price decided beforehand. He just did it. And the way I worked it out with him was he was building it for the purpose of playing or theming it around Paper Mario for the release of the new Paper Mario game. So he was doing it anyways. And I could have said no, and I could have been like, all right, whatever. But I knew that, is this worth the amount he paid me for it? In terms of stuff, absolutely not, because I've gotten way more Lego in plastic volume compared to what he gave me for way less. Like, no question about it. But it's something custom he made. It's Paper Mario 1000-Year Door. It supports him as a human being. And, in lieu of me doing donations to his live stream or even subscribing or anything, that I would rather do that to support him and know full well that yes, this is a premium that I'm paying for, but it's because I support you in the same way that people support me on Patreon, where most of the tiers you're getting stuff, but that's not the point of the Patreon. It's to support creators without necessarily an explicit thing in return. It's what it's kind of based off of. So it's that mentality, except in this case, I'm actually getting something from it too.
Right. That's why I support you, Kevin, and Joey and Mike from the Cool Factor, Mike, because I really like what you guys do and everything else as far as your content. And all honesty, you know, it's good for me to, you know, to support my friends in any way I can. You know, I've always said that if I could do more, I would. Blah blah blah. But like, that's okay. So that's cool. So my next question is, I have a question. I promise I do. But oh, hey, I finished the boat.
Here you go. That was quick. Stream over.
All right. See you guys later. No. Just a few more questions, then we'll wrap it up. All right, Big Bray?
We can do whatever.
All right. Oh, I know you have showtime soon, so
That's
I don't
7.
want to.
It's fine.
7. Okay. All right. So when you're, has there ever been a situation where you want this custom thing that this person made, and like they give you the price, and there's just no way, like it's out of your ballpark completely? Have you ever had that situation? And if so, did you ever try to negotiate it or anything like that?
No, because there aren't many custom things I want. And so for like the Pino who made the Banjo-Kazooie, the Inklings and whatever, he's given me a price, and then I've actually given him a little bit more because of the quality of the builds and how much I value it and like that. So I've never gotten a price and thought, okay, no. I have that has happened before when talking to graphic designers about different things, where it'll be a astronomically high price. Then I'm like, no, the work I think I can get from you in your style, in your execution is not worth that money to me. So I'm going to go with somebody else.
Yeah. And how do you, so that happens, you tell them no or whatever, and go from there. Like, have you ever like purchased something from an artist or a customizer or even a graphic artist, and you've just been like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I had a perfect case of that. So I went on, I think it was freelancer.com or something, and I wanted somebody to make a Eevee interpretation in my art style. So the black bold lines with, you know, more characteristics like in line in the brand book of the Brian Saviano thing, right? Well, I'll read Kevin's comment here. I had that happen with Abby Dabbles. I wanted her beautiful brick built sideways mosaic of Rosie the Riveter saying you can do it. 15,000? You said 15,000 for it and they said no. Wow. Or like it depends how big that would be too, you know?
It's gonna take up his living room wall.
Yeah, I mean, if it's huge, then that's a lot. But if it's quality, it depends on time and everything else too. What I was saying with the Eevee thing, the way it worked on that website was you put the listing up there and the bounty, which was $50 or whatever. And if you didn't choose, you have to choose someone who, you know, won the project, who gave you a good, you know, preview. And if you don't select someone, the money gets split up between anybody who tried to apply for it. So I picked one person, and it was some guy from Russia, and I couldn't convey creatively between the language barrier and just understanding what I wanted that person to do. So $50 down the drain, and I never did anything with it. But you know, it's that is a small cost compared to a larger lesson that could have been. And for that, I'm just like, all right, whatever, you know?
Yeah. Alrighty. So when you've got people that do your graphics for you and everything else in the whole world, do you go back to them for repeat business? Like you found somebody on Freelancer, for example, they do good work for you. Do you hit them up again, or do you give it like up to another chance for another person to do it?
Depends on who it is. So, for example, one Kevin Hinkle in the chat is so busy doing sig fig drawings that he's not available to do a project in a particular time manner that I would want it to be done. So I have other people that I would work with, one of them being Guy Rodwell, a more consistent graphic artist I work with. And he's the one who does all the skylines for the live streams and everything else. And it's beautiful. And he does an incredible job. And his availability is better only because he does it full time. He doesn't have anything else in that moment that he's working on, and he usually works with like larger YouTube brands and other personalities, but like I give him fun enough projects that he's like, okay, cool, let's do this. So, and they're usually fairly simple overall. So if it's something more involved, like the new Super Bricks O'Brien figure, that I would give to Kevin, because I know he understands the source material better and would work better. But the Skyline wasn't necessarily, I needed to have Kevin do it. It could be someone else who gets it, but yeah.
All right, so let's talk about that sticker for a moment, because this was good for both you and Kevin when you dropped that thing like it was hot, as it were. It sold out both times that it hit the store in a matter of days, hours. Yes. So you've got this iconic icon that you've created, that you've got this sticker that sells really well. When are we going to see the Bricks O'Brien intro cartoon with that figure jumping over a Bricks O'Brien Mario land, as it were?
Well, never.
Oh,
say that.
Next question then. Okay.
Well, the reason it's never is because, you know, part of like life collapsing is trying to figure out, you know, what Lego means to me and what my future with the company or the brand or the whatever is. And, you know, I do the side thing on Beyond the Brick here and there, but it's Lego has become less and less a part of my wheelhouse, you know, since Brick Show. And, you know, like the name is Bricks O'Brien. It doesn't necessarily pertain to Lego. It's brick. Like, you know, someone can not be in the Lego community and be called Bricks whatever. It's not necessarily a Lego thing, but it's, all right. Yeah, sorry.
I have a harder question for you now.
Sure.
Don't be mad at me. We're still friends after this, okay?
Okay.
So with the collapse of the Brick Show and all that stupid shit that happened, has that turned you away from doing Lego content at all?
Yeah. I mean, I think of it like I invested, and we all invested. I was such a small part of the overall operation of that channel, but toward the end of it, I was more so. But like, you know, being in that position and not this is tough. So
we don't got to talk about it if you don't want to.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
So doing reviews and doing news videos and covering, you know, whatever the new thing, like there was only so much that I could do in that position. And I think any creator can do as a Lego content creator.
Yeah.
And basing your entire likeness, channel, brand, company, whatever, off of just one other company that you don't own, like you're basing everything off of something you're not in control of, is not a good business move long term, like a lot of quote unquote adults would want to do.
No, you're absolutely right.
So there should be other streams of revenue or other things you can fall back on, or blah 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 blah. So I did a commentary, and I still do it on Beyond the Brick, of like, here's my hot take on the idea stuff, here's this, here's that, here's whatever. But like there definitely isn't anything I can do that is out of the wheel, you know, that I feel like I can contribute creatively anymore between Beyond the Brick and my work on the Brick Show. So especially with Lego Super Mario, like that if you told me I'm done after that, then I'm done. Yeah. Like I think I said it to you when I built the NES. I was like, this is it. I'm done. Like, what else could I possibly, you know, other than a Peach's Castle, what else could possibly take the cake for this, you know? And so.
And we've talked about bittersweet things when it comes to, I mean, I keep it Lego right now because this is, like you said, the extent of my content creation. So, you know, we've seen it where, like, you know, where people have been collecting for years and like they've always wanted X set to happen, X set happens, and then they you know, they hang it up. They're done collecting. They have everything they could ever want and things like that. Do you feel like since wave one of Mario knocked it out of the park, you did all that great and wonderful work with it. I think your ASMR video had like 100,000 views by the end of the day.
It had
Like
like
I think
400. Now it has 400,000, I believe.
yeah. So there you go. Like that's a home run in anybody's wheelhouse,
Sure.
as it were. Okay, so that being said, are you going to go as hard in as you did before with wave 2 and wave 3 and yada shmada, or are you just going to acknowledge that they exist and politely walk past them like an old girlfriend that you see on the street?
Well, definitely not that.
Okay.
So this goes into how I feel about getting Lego sets early and what it means for me and the implications of that I've alluded to before, but never explained in depth. And I probably will on my own channels eventually. But for right here, right now, when you get a Lego set early from Lego, first of all, the cost of that set. So let's say I have a $200 set, right? That Lego set you get for free, right? But for Lego, they can sell that at half off and make a profit. And not only that, they can sell it for 75% off and still make a profit. So this kit that you have that costs retail $200 that could be worth more down the line costs Lego as a company, especially when they make it in bulk, hundreds of thousands of units or whatever, it costs them maybe $10 per unit to make it, maybe. So it'll cost them more to ship it to me from Denmark than it does for the actual value of what it really, really, really is. So yes, you're getting this set for free, but there's also the implication of when you do get it, you're making content out of it. And if you're like me with the Lego Super Mario thing, it was, okay, here's, a dozen sets. There needs to be in-depth videos about this. Also talking about it constantly and making sure that it's all professionally in line. It's done in a timely manner. It's ABCD XYZ. And if you have other things going on, then that can get stressful. And not even factoring in the money side of it, like part of me wanted to just like sit there and enjoy all of the sets and not have to worry about reviews. And by the time I was done with the Mario stuff, I'm like, man, I this takes up a lot of space, and I don't feel like looking at it right now because I worked so hard and put all of my energy and my passion into this that
you don't care about it anymore.
I care about, like, I still have Mario on my desk. Mario is right next to me and right next to Baby Yoda for now. Yoda's getting rid of, but Baby Yoda's right there next to, Lego Bricks O'Brien. But it comes down to how you feel about it and the stress that it could bring. And there's definitely 100% a trade-off between, okay, do I get this done immediately and do content and get it for free, or do you just buy it yourself? No other implications of it other than you just enjoying it for yourself.
Right. So what about those guys that aren't in the club, as it were? And I know you're not in the club either. You're part of the Beyond the Brick Club, which is different than being an actual LAN member. Okay, so take guys like, for example, we'll do me, because I do all of these reviews on my channel. Right?
Yeah.
So those guys that are like beating it to the punch or whatever, and they're trying to get this review out about a Lego set that 20 other people have done and things like that. Do you think that they are doing it just to get the review, or do you think they're doing it because they like the set?
Well, if they're doing it for everything, then they're just doing it to get the view. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as those people realize so like I've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, not just with the brick show, but like in general. Like I see like creating content online consistently without the backing of a company or a team or whatever, like it's all just one person, typically all the time, relentlessly, forever. There is no break. There is no vacation. There's no whatever. And especially if you're reliant on a platform of which you have no control over, like YouTube ad revenue, that could change month to month to month. And you can have it as a side business or a thing that you want to work on and grow and develop. But when you start thinking of this as a full-time gig, whether you're individual or even more of a family, like serious bills, then it becomes different. Then there's different anxieties that come with that when you're starting your own business and looking out for so many different facets of the business and, keeping your head above water. That for me, it's absolutely made me question why I'm doing this. And is this still worth it? And is this whatever? And that's what I'm coming to a head with right now, personally, not even with just Lego, but with everything. But, it's you can strive to be in the cool kids club, but the cool kids club isn't necessarily where you want to be. And I've always known that as someone who's never been in the club, which is why I don't want to be in the club. I don't care. I don't need the Lego Ambassador Network branding on my channel to justify me anymore. I have more experience than whoever else. Like I know I don't need that direct relationship with Lego. It doesn't appeal to me on a long-term basis, because I'm only going to be a fan. And if I'm being, if I want to be in a position with Lego, I'd want to be with them professionally, working for them, not just an ambassador. That's where I would set my eyes to. And I don't think being in the land would help with any of that.
Same here. I definitely, I don't think that I would want to be part of that organization as the land, because it's great, whatever. But like my mind and my mindset, I joke around about reviews and everything, but like, I don't give a shit about reviews. If people see a set, they're going to buy a set, but like, I would rather be designing those sets so that people would want to do the review on it, so that people would want to buy it. Right. And that's where, that's where my mind works. So just a quick recap, kids, if you're watching, or kids, if you're not watching, be over 14 for one. Secondly, so if you're going to do the YouTube thing, don't depend on it for money. You got to treat it like you're an actor in Hollywood or a screenwriter in Hollywood or whatever. You need the job that puts the meat on the table. Don't rely solely on doing this and solely on this being your bread and butter. So that's basically it. Hi, Steve. How's it going, buddy?
Steve, hello. And Kevin says, you don't want to be in there. And Kevin, he comes from, admittedly, a biased position of knowing how the sausage is made.
Right.
And has not had a positive ending with the company. So you could interpret that as a negative bias out the gate. But I think even with the points that I have made and people that I have seen talk about the Ambassador Network, that's what it is. And it works ideally for Beyond the Brick almost in every capacity, because, hey, if they don't want to cover one particular thing, then they can hand it to me or to Kirk or to whoever. And their viewership is based off of conventions and showcasing other people's creations. It doesn't rely on being the first to the punch with the review. And that works incredibly well in their favor. And they have the immense support and respect at large from the Lego community, which also helps them. And they are very good about posting on Facebook and Instagram and diversifying. And like, I know what I can see where those guys in particular got their, the recipe for the sausage, and it's a well-made sausage. They know what they're doing,
Well,
so,
Beyond the Brick was also one of the first to start adding video to their thing with what they did, right? So like,
sure.
They were the first to start touring conventions and like, videotape it and blah blah blah, and videotape it like from the 80s. So they were the first to get it. So they were the first, everybody knows who Beyond the Brick is. Like, as far as the community is concerned, right? Like, unless you're just starting, and unless you're just a kid or whatever, everybody knows who Beyond the Brick is, because they do it X, Y, and Z to get the sausage. And I've seen so many people try to do X, Y, and Z to make the sausage, but they come out with like bratwurst, and it's not the same. And it's like, we get sausage, right? Okay. So like, I see that happening a lot. And like, when this is just fun and games for me, for just laying that down right now. I don't ever plan to do anything with this, as monetarily or otherwise. But I see that, and I thought about how I wanted to do this. This is my second go around with YouTube. The first one was Peculiar Interest, and that failed spectacularly. So the first go around, I learned a lot, and the second go around was what, everybody's doing X, Y, or Z. Everybody is doing a vlog about how their week went. Everybody is doing a vlog about, here I go to the Lego store. Guess what I'm going to buy,
Sure.
And I just kind of realized that I would want to do a fireside with people. Not to steal your phrase, but to steal a Roosevelt phrase, which is...
That's a phrase that's been around.
Yeah, exactly. And just to do a fireside, build with Lego, talk about mocks, maybe teach somebody somewhere about how, parts can fit together, something like that, and showcase what I like to do for fun. And I think that a lot of content creators have looked at this as a job when their channel as small as I am, when they're as whatever as they are as I am, and they make it into something more than it's not. And I can't personally stand that. And it's just sad because it stops becoming fun and it starts becoming a job that you're not paid for well,
100%. And then it also becomes about potentially the e-clout and wanting to get subscribers and whatever else.
Yeah.
That's a whole other metric that's measured, and I buff on that too, but I won't right now. And Steve, I see your claim about the LAN, and I agree to an extent. I think with what I did with the Lego Super Mario Championship was definitely not your traditional LAN thing. However, I am not in the LAN. Like, I'm not in there, and I was still able to be a part of that opportunity. And just because you're in that club doesn't mean you're entitled to anything. And it's okay if it's going to be marketing, if it's a way of marketing directly toward adult fans, that's totally fine. I see nothing wrong with that. But it's up to creators to, if they get an offer for these Lego sets, or I don't know how it works, honestly, at all. But if you get an offer for this set and you're like, man, I am neck deep in everything else and I cannot handle more work right now, then you can refuse it. You don't need to take every single little thing or whatever. Yes, be open to when opportunities arise, if they do arise, and be professional, kind, courteous, and respectable about it. But you don't need to take every little thing, or I don't know. It doesn't help that I don't know all of that process, but I'm just going off a second, third, fourth, fifth hand information. And I think, like Kevin just said, it's a combination of both me and Steve. It's, like the opportunities that I have gotten with Lego, with Lego Super Mario specifically, have been awesome. And I don't necessarily regret them, but I don't think that a lot of things that I want to accomplish personally with my life long term would be accomplished by being on Beyond the Brick, or receiving a bigger role on there, or being in more cahoots with Lego. I don't see that happening.
Right. I think that if you wanted to be in more cahoots than just, here's the set they sent me, I'm going to build it for you all. I think that you would sell your other attributes which you have, which is, in all honesty, as a charismatic individual who could sell ice to a Native American in Alaska. I can't say Eskimo anymore. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's where I see you going, or doing marketing along those lines. But that's just me personally, and I always saw it as Lego, we're going to be, or Lego, we're going to send you this set to review. Okay, great. Fantastic. You need to do it. Well, yeah, I know. That's why you're sending. Well, you need to do it this way, and you need to do it that way, and blah, 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 blah.
They're not necessarily strict on that, from what I understand. It's a matter of, as long as you do something with it, is what they're looking for.
Okay.
And like, so Nick, I know, has gotten, he got like the Ninjago wave of stuff, right?
He did.
And he has not built it. He received it months ago, but they don't care as long as you do something with it. He has like the Lamborghini, from what he has talked about, and he still hasn't built it. It's sitting in a box. Like, as long as you do something with it eventually. And that goes back to, it costs Lego only a few dollars to send that stuff out. They don't care. They don't care at all about, like, oh, we sent you a $300 set. You did not. It's not $300 to them at all. Like,
it's
so
$10.
Yeah, or even that. Like, it doesn't. The financial thing doesn't matter, and they're not going to pay you to review it unless you're a big mega superstar, because usually the amount of marketing dollars they get out of it, it's that whole equation where it works out for Lego because they get the promotion for it, but also works out for you because you get a free thing that you ideally wanted anyways. And also, none of the information that I'm saying is confidential or outlandish, or like I saw Kevin earlier talk about like spilling tea. Like, it's not even spilling tea. It's just that is what it is. And it's a very open thing that I think anybody can talk about. It's just being honest about it, you know? And I'm not trying to ruffle feathers or get Lego or whoever pissed at me. Not at all.
No. That you're not coming off like that at all. Don't worry about that. It's fine. You're good.
Just in case the big red brick is looking like,
I really doubt that they're looking at the fat guy with a minifigure with a beard on talking about Lego with internet superstar Brian Saviano right now.
Kevin says the one thing you're missing, Brian, is the ROI on influencer marketing. Well, yeah, that's part of the.
Whoa! What's ROI?
Return on investment.
Okay.
So so when Lego gives it, let's say to Just Too Good, he has how many subscribers. So he's going to reach an amount of people on a surface level that could probably reach, like if they put that dollar amount into Facebook advertisements, it would not reach the same amount of level, which is why they send it to Just Too Good and all them. And a lot of influencers that are just influencers don't realize that, you know, their potential and their reach is far more than they realize. Yes, they make money on the ad revenue, but they could be able to, like, they can value themselves at a higher price because you're reaching 100,000 to like 1 million people or whatever, you know?
And so sorry, I'm going to interrupt you just for a second. So from what I know, it's difficult to do that for Lego. It's difficult to get free stuff, right? So let's say you do that. Let's say you get in the club. Okay, just you didn't join the LAN, but you got noticed and you've got the followers and you've got the whatever. Okay, so you start getting the free stuff. As an influencer, God, I hate that word so much. Would you take that opportunity to be like, start working on other brands? Like, you know, our butts all have to sit in something. We all drink something, or we all, you know, wear something. Would you use that clout of, I got into one of the hardest brands to be with as an influencer, you know, let me do this for your product? Would you start selling yourself out to other products so that you could be a non-official, official marketing guy with whatever content that you're creating?
So that goes into like your own personal brand integrity. So if you're the type of person to just put your name on something for you to make the buck, then absolutely do it. But the entire methodology of brands connecting with young people today. I mean, I'm sounding like a marketing shill, and I love it.
Yeah.
With brands marketing with young people today, is, you know, the honesty behind the intentions of what the brand is trying to do. So that's why you're seeing a lot of like these specific brands acting more like people on social media to make themselves relatable, even though it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation that has tendrils that seep into every corner of everything. You know, you're seeing that. And if you as an individual want to tarnish your brand by promoting garbage, then go for it. But you're not a multi-billion-dollar company that's going to make money regardless. You're a dude who's trying to put a good word out there for yourself, for other people. And if a brand can work with you, that's a good brand you approve of and want to build a relationship with, then yeah, do it. But don't let it be just anything.
So what you're saying is that we're not going to see you in a Canadian tuxedo anytime soon.
You wouldn't see me in a Canadian tuxedo unless it was for like a donation, like, you know, for charity or something. I'll do outlandish stuff for charity. I'll do anything, whatever, right? Pretty much anything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You will not see me recommending,
say sneakers, for instance.
Well, if they fit me, yes, I will. But
check out these New Balances, guys. They are awesome.
Right. You won't see me recommending, you know, a juice cleanse if I've never done it before.
What about Goop Rocks?
Those either, no.
No?
No.
Okay, good. Just thought I'd check.
Going back to what Kevin said real quick here, it costs like Lego to 30 grand for a single commercial and pay 30K for a commercial or send a pack of sets to an influencer to show the audience of whatever. It'll cost your budget maybe $50, 100%.
Oh yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how the entire landscape of digital marketing is changing. And I think it's a matter of time before somebody or a group or whoever gets on a high enough pedestal and is like, hey, every influencer literally ever, you're worth 10 times more than what you value yourself as because of your reach. Ask for more. It's not going to be me probably because I don't have that e-clout pedestal. But for right now, all the marketing people are like, hey, if we can build a positive relationship and not necessarily manipulate, because they're not tricking. The idea is that these marketing people shouldn't be tricking creators into doing something. It should be, okay, the creator values what the product is. They receive whatever of the product, a discount or free or otherwise. And it should always be a mutual exchange. It's just that not many people know their true value and it comes off as being manipulated. I really wish that wasn't the case. And that's why, like Kevin has taught me in regard to working with Lego, only do it if it's beneficial to you and to them. Don't feel pressured to do every little thing because then you're getting played, which you should never feel that way.
All right. So moving out of the Lego hemisphere. Okay,
Sure.
I'm going to give you an example here. So say that your approach to promote X, Y, or Z, right? And it's
Yep.
like the fire situation. You know the fire concert nonsense that happened 2 years ago. Okay, so say it's like that. Like, what do you do at that point where you're stuck on an island and you've got a sandwich to eat, but like there's no, you've already agreed to do the thing. You're doing the thing, but it's so not worth your time. Like, how do you recover from that?
Well, it depends who I am in the situation. Am I the guy that ran the event? Am I a investor? Like, what's his face? I don't know who the rapper was. I forget. But
Ja Rule. No, it wasn't Ja Rule.
So am I the Ja Rule or am I the guy running it in this situation?
Right. So you're Ja Rule.
Okay. So if now me as a person, human being, not a scumbag, fingers crossed, right? Let's hope I'm not a scumbag. I would go to the island and be like, hey, this sucks. This is awful. I'm personally paying $250,000 to get a shipment from Florida to this island for amenities for all of us as much as we can, because this is a bleep show and I'm not going to have it. So let's make the best of this what we can and try to get the situation under control. I think what they did was they made a buck and dash and that's it. And they never talk about it. And it's awful.
They shit the bed big time. And the guy that was promoting the thing that put on it, I think he got slapped with like 2 years.
Yeah, but I'm sure he's paying for that in a variety of other ways too. So I would absolutely not tolerate, because my name is attached to it, and not even for me personally being ticked because of this situation happening and my name getting ruined, like whatever, that's my fault for making a mistake. But all these people are miserable and lost out on thousands of dollars because of this scumbag who wanted to either didn't have a control over the situation or anything. Like, that's not cool. And if there's anything I can do with my fictitious millions of dollars, I'm absolutely going to do it.
Well, this is the situation like that right now. What's happening? I'm cursing like a sailor, and you're known for being squeaky clean and family friendly, right? So, like, do you think that a random mom that sees this, that's not Lindsay, will see this and go, well, why is he, hanging out with such a deviant? What if my kid watches this because it's got Bricks O'Brien on it? That's why I used Brian Saviano, by the way, not your, because I also support and, love what you do. I've said this several hundred times before, but are you worried? Does this slightly worry you now that I brought it up? Since, like, I'm just like, yeah, man, just shit a brick, whatever, and, you're controlling your language because that's who you are as a content creator and as a person. Are you worried at all that this will have any sort of backlash?
No, because the way that
Nobody
you're
watches your channel, Jeff. Oh, right.
no,
That's
no,
what
no,
it
no,
is.
not even that. Not even that. The way you're using your swears is not belligerent enough for me to be like, all right, you're just doing this because you think you're being funny by swearing and you're not. It's a part of, and some people, I used to do that. Like, oh, if I'm swearing and if I'm whatever, then that adds a bit of spice to the equation. But you're not swearing for the sake of it. It's just a part of your vocabulary. It's very minimal, and you do know to shut it off. And if I asked you to, you probably would.
Oh,
And that's a
absolutely.
respectable thing. But if any mother watched this and was like, oh, why were you on here with Jeff? I'll be like, well, I didn't promote it. This wasn't a thing that I did not put my gold seal of approval on it for family friendly content. And that's how it is. That's why I only recommend Nick on Twitch when I raid him.
Oh, I know.
You know, because if there's another person who streams Fortnite that I actually met in real life, and they say phrases like butthole and whatever, and just really like it doesn't align with what I would do. Like, you're not gonna call me anything butthole. Like, no, that's not like, no. So even that I don't recommend. So like if I link to it and I'm like, hey, gold stamp, here we go. Kevin Store, there we go. Nick, boom, Beyond the Brick, boom. Like, not that it's something people should ever strive toward because I'm nobody, but it's just in line with my brand in the same way that Lego doesn't do Walking Dead or Game of Thrones or whatever, because it's whatever. And I think it's important to have that rule set for yourself, whether you're a creator who's all family friendly or you cuss like a sailor. Like, if you have this, if you have a good personal moral compass and a moral compass you have as a brand, if you sell yourself as a brand, then that's good. One of my golden phrases for life is you are who you associate yourself with, and I don't associate myself with scumbags, and if I do, they're gone. So that's
we're still friends, so I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but you're getting worked on, you know, you're like a phoenix. You're gonna rise, you're gonna go, and then you're gonna be a squeaky clean, you know, you're gonna be all washed up, you're gonna shine, shine your head down and like set yourself on fire, and you're gonna fly out of plane.
You just tell me to go kill myself, Brian?
No, Jeff is on borrowed time, true.
Wow, Kevin. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I'm on borrowed time too.
We all are. TikTok.
Lindsay says that Nick has rated people that are not family friendly a lot. It doesn't totally bother me, but I'm glad that you don't have a raid people that aren't family friendly. Well, okay, so
yeah, that's a big thing. I'm gonna interrupt you, Brian, because I'm that guy. That's a big thing too, because like Nick sells himself as family friendly. He's gotten on my ass about saying damn before, and that's why I don't watch Nick anymore. Because, in all honesty, there's been moments when he's, done his thing or whatever, mostly when he's gaming, right? And that's a different atmosphere.
Sure.
And it's like, you're gonna yell at me for saying damn. I'm gonna take my $5 elsewhere, sir. Yeah, and I have, and like even in your streams, when I have cursed every once in a while, you don't like call me out about it because A, you don't care. B, I'm not telling someone to go, fuck themselves.
Right.
And C, it's not like to illustrate a point. Like, say for instance, we have a friend that's named Berlin, like a city in another country, and I tell him to go shut the fuck up already, Berlin. But I'm not gonna do that. I'd like to multiple times, but I don't do that, and like, okay, I get that you're promoting yourself to be this family friendly person, but dude, come on, and that's one thing that I appreciate about your streams and what you do and how you portray yourself, because that does matter to me. And when I do other things, I have for Kevin's nonsense on Fridays. It's not nonsense, but for Kevin's stuff on Fridays when I'm emceeing, I do my very best to not curse, because that's what Kevin wants, and that says a lot for like when you hang out with other people that that do this thing that we do. Okay, like you've got to be able to be that person that's a guest or a friend on the show or whatever, and conduct yourselves the way that they would like you to be. That they conduct themselves. So like I don't expect you to start, telling horrible jokes and swearing like a sailor, Brian, but I'm also pretty sure that you're not going to come on here and start talking about how the injustices of man are incorrect and how the white man knows everything there is to know and everything is fine too. So there's that.
Yeah, there's so it would be different for me if I were strictly for kids, but my content I do not make with kids in mind. That's I think an important distinction that I have over other people. Like I know full well somebody from Twitch is going to wander into my stream and drop a swear, not because like they are going to splice it up and be edgy, but that's just a part of the typical language. It's not like, whatever. So like I don't get upset, and I've never received any comments from a parent or anybody being like, I saw on a stream you did, or because I didn't do anything. I'm not saying anything,
Mm-hmm.
And if I were really that strict about it, I would even not allow follower notifications to pop up on stream specifically, because people will troll with a username and be like, Buttmaster69420, and I'm like, I won't say it if it gets on screen, and I won't, but because I know they're trying to invoke like, oh, I'm going to say something stupid, I'm not going to say it, but I'm not going to be like, oh, it didn't happen. Oh, let me I'm not going to freak out,
Yeah, so I've definitely thought about trolling you with a name like that before, just so you know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I won't. Don't worry.
I won't respond to it. No,
don't. And never ever. Like I think when we first started being friends, like a little bit, I was like, nah, and then I was, no, don't do that, don't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Like, and I understand that too. Like, I can see it with a couple of my friends' channels too. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to do that. But there's a guy that's called Johnny Smoke Up or Smoke Up Johnny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's my friend pausing to not acknowledge his name because he's that guy, And then the dude's super cool, like super friendly and everything else. But like, it's like you said, well, I can't, call out Butt Ninja 69.
Right.
Sorry.
And I'm very sorry, Alyssa, for calling out your alternate account. I know there's a bunch of them out there, and I'm sorry I had to publicly call attention to it. Please forgive me.
Alyssa, isn't your new name just an image of a burning trash can? Is that
that's how she feels on the inside, how she looks on the outside, the profile picture, the name.
I heard you were just going to take the Prince approach and like, just here's my symbol and just
right.
a dumpster fire. It's
just a heaping pile of trash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
With like an empty Febreze next to it.
And some food.
Freshen it up, but it was like, nah.
Yeah. All right. Makes sense. All right. So, Brian, do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
No. I appreciate whatever this was, and I appreciate it for what
this was me building a Caribbean Clipper that turned into me interviewing you about hot takes.
Yes. The Febreze scent is trash as well, and that's what I look like 100%. No, and yes, I'm not gonna like add more onto the pile, but Jeff has told me before to be nicer to people, so I don't know.
That's like 50-50 because I tell you to be nice to them, but then I'm basically raising my voice at them once you leave to tell them to go fuck themselves. So, in all honesty, it's my fault. You be as mean to people as you want, Brian.
Well, thank you. I will no longer insult any of the other people in the live stream chat except Kevin.
All right. So I want to thank everybody once again for showing up. I appreciate you showing up, even if it was just to talk to Brian, because I understand that.
I was just posting stuff on eBay, and Jeff was like, I need your likeness to promote my e-clout. And I'm like, there we go, Jeff. I got you.
That's exactly what it was. But we finished the Clipper.
Hold on. Can you highlight Lindsay's comment real quick?
I sure can.
Lindsay, look at my profile picture as it's moving and radiating with the sounds of my voice. I will not comment on the comment that you just made right there, but I just want to say I appreciate who you are as a mother. That's it.
Kevin, there was Lego built today. I built this. It's a boat. It does boat things.
Does it float? Who cares?
I don't give a shit if it
Yeah.
does or not. It's just kind of like going to go up there and be forgotten about.
There you go. Until it ends up in a bag or something else.
Well, I do have a story about this. I am going to go into a story about it. So my friend Will Anderson, he and I knew each other since I was since I was a punk. And Will moved. And Will gave me about 90% of his Lego collection because he knew that I loved it. And he gave me this boat and he gave me the Pirate Island and was like, there's conditions that you can take these two things. I was like, okay. First one is you can't sell it ever. You can never sell it.
Sure.
Okay. The second one is it can only be given away as a gift.
Fair.
So the first one I gave to Boone. The Pirate Island I gave to Boone. So I was like, here you go, man. Take it. And I guess that got me a spot on his show. And with this, I was going to get rid of this. I wanted to give it to Hanlon, or at least sell it to Hanlon because I could use the money. But then the upper management made this face.
Yeah, you don't want to upset the
you can't upset the upper management, folks. You just can't do it.
Shareholders are very invested. You can't.
So this is by far the worst Lego set that I've ever had in my possession. I hate pirates with a passion.
There we go.
If you feel like spending $200 on an old box with some Lego parts, go to Bricklink and buy this. Otherwise, you could live without it. There's better things. Marijuana might be legal in your state, for instance. I don't know.
You should go on some one of the other Lego live streaming shows and say that hot take opinion and then get booted from the stream.
Well, I mean, I would, but Zoom doesn't invite me to things.
I want to thank everybody for listening, watching, and tuning in to the Career Rebuild with Brian Saviano. As Alyssa just said, this was bad, including the pirate ship. So thank you, Jeff, for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Mm-hmm. No problem. I really appreciate you doing it. I hope you guys have a great time. Thank you very much for unsubscribing. I'm sorry that I don't like pirates. I'm sorry that you enjoy pirates. Say hello to...
Real
Go
quick,
ahead.
let me throw some heat here before I wave. I'm waving right now. Steve and Alyssa are some of the least supportive people I know. Can I just say that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
Steven.
hey, Eli was here. Great.
Anyway, all right. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for the unsubscribes.